Pretendians suck. If you don't know what this term means, a pretendian is someone who falsely claims to be Native American or of Indigenous descent. This term is used pejoratively to highlight the deception involved, as claims like this can be harmful and exploitative. Pretendians might make these false claims for various reasons, like gaining social, economic, or academic benefits, or for personal prestige. The issue of pretendians is a significant concern within Indigenous communities, as it undermines the authenticity and sovereignty of true Indigenous identities and cultures. But what historical conditions allow for the existence of pretendians? Why is it such a salient phenomenon? The phenomenon of pretendians has historical roots in various social, economic, and political conditions. First off, colonialism and assimilation policies. During colonization, Indigenous peoples were often subjected to policies aimed at erasing their cultures and identities. This included forced assimilation, the Indian Removal Act, and residential schools. Over time, some people with distant or minimal Indigenous ancestry might feel disconnected from their heritage and later attempt to reclaim it, sometimes inaccurately or dishonestly. The romanticization of Indigenous cultures. Throughout history, Indigenous cultures have been romanticized and fetishized by mainstream society, both in America and in Europe, and in fact throughout the entire world. This romanticism, evident in literature, movies, media, and popular culture, has led to stereotypes and misconceptions about Indigenous peoples. Some individuals adopt these romanticized identities to gain social cachet or personal fulfillment. Certain legal and social benefits have also been associated with being Indigenous, like access to scholarships, grants, affirmative action in education and employment, and other resources. These incentives can motivate people to falsely claim Indigenous heritage. In recent decades, there's been a growing awareness and appreciation of cultural diversity and identity politics. Although this has empowered many marginalized communities, it's led to some individuals to appropriate Indigenous identities to align themselves with perceived progressive values or to gain acceptance in certain social or academic circles. Historical events like the forced relocations, loss of lands, and the breaking up of families, like through the foster care system, have fragmented many Indigenous communities. This fragmentation has sometimes led to weakened connections to cultural heritage and a subsequent desire among some to reconnect, even if their claims are not legitimate. The criteria for determining Indigenous identity can vary widely between different tribes, nations, and organizations. The lack of a universally accepted standard for verifying Indigenous ancestry makes it easier for individuals to falsely claim Indigenous status. These historical and contemporary conditions have created a landscape in which someone like a pretendian can easily emerge. The impact of these false claims needs to be distinguished from those who are reconnecting with their ancestry after a significant period of time. These false claims are made by those with no traceable ancestry or any kind of connection to the communities in which they claim to be a part. But their claims can undermine the credibility and integrity of true Indigenous identities and communities. Several high-profile individuals have been accused of falsely claiming Indigenous heritage. Perhaps most notably, Elizabeth Warren, the U.S. Senator from Massachusetts, faced controversy over her claims of Native ancestry during her 2012 Senate campaign and the 2020 presidential race. Although she stated that she had Cherokee and Delaware ancestry based on family lore, a DNA test revealed that she had an extremely small amount of Native American ancestry, which was widely criticized. Andrea Smith, a scholar and activist known for her work on Native issues, has been accused of falsely claiming Cherokee heritage. Despite her significant contributions to academic and activist circles, her claims have been disputed by the Cherokee Nation. Ward Churchill, a former professor of ethnic studies at the University of Colorado Boulder, claimed to be of Creek and Cherokee descent. His claims were scrutinized and eventually discredited, which contributed to his dismissal from the university, although his firing was officially due to quote-unquote research misconduct. Rachel Dolezal, while primarily known for falsely claiming African American identity, Dolezal also claimed to have Native American heritage. Her case became widely publicized in 2015 when it was revealed that she was actually European. Joseph Boyden was a Canadian author who is celebrated for his works about Indigenous people. He's faced scrutiny and criticism regarding his claims of Indigenous heritage. Investigations and reports have raised doubts about the accuracy and legitimacy of his stated ancestry. LeClaire was an artist and activist who claimed to be of various Indigenous heritages, including Métis, Oneida, and Anishinaabe. She was exposed as having no verifiable Indigenous ancestry. LeClaire's case came to light after genealogical research and investigations by the community. Perhaps most notably, in recent times, Elizabeth Hoover is a prominent academic and scholar known for her work in environmental justice and Native American studies. She's been a professor at institutions like Brown University and UC Berkeley, but she has faced accusations of falsely claiming Mohawk and Mi'kmaq heritage. In 2022, Hoover publicly acknowledged that she could not verify her claimed Indigenous ancestry and apologized for the harm caused by her assertions. This admission followed scrutiny from the academic community and Indigenous groups who questioned the legitimacy of her claims. Her case has sparked significant discussion about the importance of genuine Indigenous identity and the impact of false claims on both personal and professional levels.